Hi, welcome to the pocket pages for this cloth book that we're making. We're making this cloth book one page at a time. Today we're up to page 15. There's a pattern on GourmetQuilter.com. If you've already signed up to receive the pattern, you will have a pattern that tells you how to do things, what size to cut things for each day or for each page that we're doing. So I've gone ahead, as I said, and we've made quite a few of them. We've done 15 page, we're up to page 15. So this is page 15 here. And this one is relatively simple, but we're using a different product this time. I've got some mesh here. You might have a different mesh. It might be a different color, a different style. It might not even be mesh. However, I'm showing you with the mesh here. So we've just got two pockets that are quite see-through, but still will contain things. So I've gone ahead and I've cut everything out and I've started doing a little bit of this. So basically what we're doing with our mesh is we're putting a little binding edge on it. So this one is the top pocket and it has a binding both edges so that we can stitch it on, and it's got a bottom and a top. But we don't stitch the top down because we want to get into it. So we've got a strip of fabric that we're using for the binding. So we're basically folding that in half and then bringing the raw edges into the center and then just pressing that over so that it makes a nice folded binding. So it's cut on the straight grain just from the strip of fabric so that everything's ready to sit over the edge of our mesh. So to bind this is really fairly straightforward. The mesh behaves itself quite nicely. You want to put it right into the fold so that it's covered as much as it's able to be with our strip all the way along. So you may want to clip it together or something. What you shouldn't do is stretch the mesh because it will be stretchy. We're trying to keep it, if we've cut it the right size and the same size as our binding strip, we generally speaking would like it to stay more or less the same size. Because if things start stretching, they look a little bit different later on, and that's not always the look we're after. So I'm just going to do that, and then what we're going to do with that sitting around the edge of the mesh is just do a line of sewing about 1/8 of an inch onto the fabric, just to hold that binding in place so that that's sitting nicely. And so it's nothing terribly hard. As I said, you just want to be careful you don't stretch the mesh, and you want to make sure that it's sitting right up into that binding all the way along. So that's done, and then if you're wanting to press that, because we're not sure necessarily what mesh is made of, sometimes they can be synthetic, you don't necessarily want to use your regular hot iron on it. So I would recommend an applique mat. If you don't have, this is a Teflon mat, which is particularly nice for cooking, baking cookies on, I believe, a little baking mat. However, it's also particularly nice for doing applique and things like that because things don't stick to it. It acts as a bit of a barrier, so I probably wouldn't iron that mesh directly with my iron. However, I can iron with the Teflon mat over the top and it will be fine. So that's a great idea for doing something like that, to get things sitting nicely. So then all we need to do is position our pockets on. So this is the lower pocket with only one binding, and I'll do a basting stitch there, but I'll probably do one around 3 sides. So then we want the top pocket just to sit on there, and the measurements will be in the pattern page. So we just want to stitch one edge or the other onto our background fabric, so we want to make sure it's staying nice and straight. And because we've already got one line of sewing, we can sew over that one, or you could do 2 more lines and not sew over that one, but 2 below that, but onto the binding strip. So really a matter of personal preference on that one. I'm probably going to stitch right over the same line that's already there, and then a second line to hold that onto the background. So I'm just going to pop a couple of clips in at each end so that things don't move too much, and I can go ahead and do my stitching. So I will just come back and show it to you when it's done. So I've gone ahead, I've put my pockets on, I've done my basting around the edge to hold the pockets in place, and I'm pretty happy with that. I did do my 2 lines of sewing, one over the top and one below, so that I've got a nice firm bottom edge to my pocket. And that's it for that page. So that was page number 15, and I'll see you again with page number 16.